Welcome back, you guys. This is part 2 of Road to the Moon by Dr. George Washington Carey. If you haven't seen the introduction or part 1, there's a link popping up in the top right hand corner of your screen right now. You can stop the video, click that, and watch them in order. And this video will come back up in the bottom of the list so that you can watch everything in order. Please make sure that you do subscribe, hit the like button, comment below, and share. In the last portion we heard, I caught the car and returned to my hotel. I must confess that my experience during the 4 hours from 6 to 10 p.m. had nearly upset my nerves. I went out to a coffee house and called for a pot of coffee with a stick in it, returning to my room at 11 p.m. Determined to read the manuscript if I had to remain awake until the morning. I hastily untied the strings about the oilcloth and unrolled 20 sheets of paper completely filled with illustrations and writings. This mountain was labeled, quote, "the umbilical cord from Mother Earth to Child Moon." The following is verbatim copy of this strange manuscript. On the shore of the Weddell Sea, South Pole, womb of the Earth, latitude 73 degrees 20 minutes south, longitude 146 degrees east, I, Nathan Boswell, record the following facts. At the age of 20, I became engaged to be married to a girl of 17, whose parents resided in Virginia. Her name was Endolia Fairchild. Endolia's father was a cotton merchant, and during the summer of 1884, he visited New Orleans on business in company with his wife and Endolia. Yellow fever broke out while the Fairchilds were in the city, and Endolia was stricken with the dread scourge, and 3 days thereafter, died. It was about 2 a.m. on August the 28th that Endolia's spirit left its body. I was at that time a clerk in a wholesale grocery store in Baltimore, Maryland. At 12 o'clock that night, I finished writing a letter to Endolia, in which I expressed great anxiety for her health. I had grave misgivings about the trip from the time she informed me that she had contemplated taking the journey with her parents. As I was sealing the letter, I felt that it would be useless to mail it. There was a letter drop box in the hall, but I retired, leaving the letter on my writing table. It was about 4 a.m., and I was awakened by a voice calling my name. "Nate!" My name is Nathan. The voice repeated the name several times, until I finally realized that it was Endolia calling to me. I answered, "Where are you, and what do you want?" Then the answer came. "I have passed from earth life, and shall not see you again until you join me at the South Pole on your journey to Moon. Go to the South Pole, and you will make a great discovery. I will guide you to the wonderful region, the womb of the Earth, and you will then be shown the road to Moon. You will be instructed in the process of transmuting matter from the third-dimensional motion to the fourth-dimensional rate, and during the time required, you will be able to visit Moon. You will then return and find one born on the same mystic day as yourself, who will publish the facts about the great discovery that will revolutionize the science of the world, after which you will transmute your physical body into a spiritual body, and you will join me. And now, after a wonderful journey, I am here, near the umbilical cord of Moon. Endolia's spirit is with me, and guides me on my way to Moon. 2 paragraphs omitted here for good reason. I don't know who omitted it, and I don't know what the reason was, but that's what it says. Let no one ever dare to penetrate this holy of holies until he fully realizes the sacredness of motherhood. I stand in the holy presence of the divine creative mother principle and write that which Earth's inhabitants must finally know, but which they will reject and scoff at until the great cataclysm occurs about the year 1945. That will break the umbilical cord and set Moon free. Maybe you know it, but maybe you don't. It's an actual demonstrable fact that the Moon is attached to the Earth by an umbilical cord. Earth is the uterus, the divine womb of the solar system. I am admitted to this sacred region during the year 1884. I was fitted for the ordeal by the teachings of Endolia, who can appear in material garb and disappear at will. She has attained and understands the law of coefficiency of refraction. Those who care to study this alchemical phase of esoteric philosophy will find much help in, quote, Scientific Romances, end quote, by C.H. Hinton. My teacher instructed me in the mysteries of birth of planets. All planets are born of the sexual union of Sun and Earth. Here I omit several sentences on account of postal laws, although the world ought to know what they disclose. And again, I guess Dr. Carey omitted them because of postal laws. What postal laws? I don't know. But, yeah. Vibrations of the highly vitalized and spiritualized essence of sun's rays upon the inner surface of the vast matrix that constitutes the unknown region about so-called South Pole impregnates the mother substance concentrated there, and the fetus of a planet is then generated. In this realm of God's creative compounds, the sweetest perfumes fill the air. A holy calm prevails, and the regenerated sense taste ambrosia and hear the deep, subtle, heavenly tones of music, likened to nothing except for the fingers of the Divine Mother touching the keys of energy. For 26,000 years the baby planet is nourished in the womb of Earth, and then comes the cataclysmal shock that throws the new world 240,000 miles into space, and also tips the Earth to a different angle. The umbilical cord holds until Earth again becomes impregnated with solar energy. Then the cord breaks, and Earth rights itself and remains until the travail of yet another birth. Between the dates of 1940 and 1945, Moon will break away from Mother Earth and take its place as the planet that will govern the constellation or zodiacal sign, Aries. My teacher conducted me to Moon. We ascended the umbilical mountain, the navel of Mother Earth, by means of a car constructed of a semi-transparent material that she called coefficient of refraction. I am scarcely able to define that term. If you ask a dozen different scientists to define specific gravity, you may be surprised to learn that few, if any, can give a good definition of the term, although each one of the dozen may really know when to use the words and how to apply them. If I say that coefficient of refraction means a substance containing the minimum amount of Mars elements to the maximum amount of Venus, Uranus, and Neptune elements, thus rendering Mars transparent, The astrologer who reads this will get some sort of idea in its meaning. After we had ascended up about 50 miles, the substance of the mountain disappeared, and we did not seem to be going up, but simply forward on a level. While my feet seemed to tread on a substance, if I stepped out of the car, I could not see anything at all. All seemed like air. Endolia explained that while I was changed in the coefficiency of refraction in regard to muscle and bone tissue, I still had earth density in relation to brain and nerves, which was necessary so as long as I must return and dwell among men for a while. I lost all idea of the time. As soon as we entered upon the level, transparent road appeared, but my teacher told me that we were only 12 hours according to Earth time, making the journey to Moon. Moon is inhabited by spirits of, quote, just men, made perfect, end quote, who have passed from Earth since the birth of the Moon. These souls will remain and be carried to the planetary angle of Aries, there to develop into moon beings, as other souls have developed on Mars, Jupiter, and other planets. Germs of vegetation are everywhere, and the basis of a beautiful world was shown to me by my teacher. The dark side of the moon, so-called the side not seen by Earth beings, is a paradise of light and beauty, the nirvana of departed Earth souls, that is, those who have been departed since the birth of Moon. Quote, when I asked how the Earth would be lighted at night after Moon departed, she answered, quote, Earth will be lighted at night until another planet is born, the same as it is now is in the dark of the Moon, lighted by stars and planets only, end quote. Earth remains in perfect equilibrium after the departure of Moon until the birth of another planet. The alchemists, seers, sage, and all spiritually illumined ones who have filled their mission on Earth now dwell on Moon. Their stay there is principally a condition of nirvana, or rest. Yet these spiritual adepts visit their Mother Earth at times, and are the true causes behind all real spiritual phenomena that manifests on the Earth plane. These teachers are now inspiring all advanced thinkers, all who write and talk for peace, brotherhood, and the cooperative commonwealth. The mighty pull of young planet Moon during the ages that it tugs and strains at the invisible umbilical cord causes it to swing to and fro across the equatorial line. In ancient times, Moon, or other planets before our Moon, were known as serpent because their course was wavering or serpentine. This irregular motion is due to the restraint or the resistance of Earth to pull or strain of Moon, which causes spasmodic oscillations. In Isaiah, Matthew, and other parts of the Bible, passages like the following are found. Quote, the earth shall be removed out of her place and shall reel like a drunken man, end quote, and the moon shall not give her light. The solar system swings around the mighty circle of the zodiac in 26,400 years, thus remaining in each of the 12 signs 2,200 years. When Earth enters the sign of Scorpio, which represents the sexual functions of the grand man of heaven, she gives birth to a new planet. Moon makes the 8th planet. There will be 4 more, thus making 12, 1 for each of the 12 signs of the zodiac. As I just said, the solar system remains 2,200 years in one sign. It entered Aquarius in 1900 and must pass through Capricorn and Sagittarius before reaching the celestial Scorpio on the regenerative plane, Scorpio becomes the white eagle, which will require about 6,600 years of Earth time, and then another child planet will be born. And this will be the Christ child among planets. This regenerative child of that fluidic, etheric, electromagnetic substance, which is to be the Redeemer, or the saving force, the life-preserving elixir, the transforming vibratory influence of the universe. Earthquakes are earth spasms, vibrations, or orgasms caused by the descent of the sun's magnetic fluid, which enters Earth at the South Pole matrix. From now on until Moon breaks away, these magnetic shocks will occur with increased frequency and violence. Sensual-minded people will be taken out of the material expression in great numbers, but the pure in heart will survive. The climax of Earth throes will be reached during the year 1916, and those who survive the ordeal will live to see the beginning of the millennial reign of the Aquarian Age, the age of men and women. Having been taught the art of transmutation, I shall enter into the new rate of motion, the fourth dimension, and dwell on Moon until that divine child goes to its place in the cosmic cycle. Here the manuscript ended. Late in December of 1904, I visited Portland again, and called at the military barracks to see if Major Lincoln and ask if Moon Explorer was still there. The Major informed me that the tramp had disappeared on September the 7th, the night of the full moon, and that no trace of him had yet been found. I often ask myself whether the manuscript was written by an insane man or by one with method in his madness. Who answers? I have received hundreds of letters in which writers believe that the story is scientific, although I wrote it as a story of the impossible. W.A. Redding, noted writer on Bible prophecies, wrote to me as follows, quote, I have read The Road to the Moon with great interest. I believe every word of it. It is true. And Dr. George Washington Carey. So guys, do you believe this story? I do not believe most of it, and I will show you why you shouldn't in the next video. Critical thinking is definitely man's best friend. Don't miss the next one. I'm going to break it all down because, as I said, most of this is absolutely not true, and I can prove it. Make sure that you have the bell clicked so that you don't miss the next video. Comment below, give the video a thumbs up, like, share in your own social media platform. Love yourselves and love each other unconditionally.